a lovely little heart as well. Well, talking about a region with a heart, next to Dr. Anand, and he's back in again. Heaven help us.
Like a bad penny.
Just what we need. No, but we're talking about the Pegida March.
Yes.
It's the funniest thing. The week before, we're all going, shouldn't have been allowed. We don't want these people here.
Yes.
And then they came.
They conked out.
They conked out, absolutely. They got totally smashed by the weight of public opinion.
Yes. I mean, there was about 250 to 300 of them. There were as many policemen. Thank you, Veera Baird. She really provided the city with total safety. Right. You know, when the crowd breaks up, that's when danger is.
Yeah.
You know, you could see I'm wearing red, I'm brown-skinned, I've got a white cap, just to say, in your face, here I am. But I never felt any threat. With the Palestine marches, I did. Right. Because, you know, you go into an alley, some little plonker will give you a smack.
Yeah.
But this was done. But the number of people that was there was 3,500.
Amazing.
3,500, of which only 5% were Muslims.
Right.
So, on the one hand, I feel sad that not enough of them had the courage or the nous to come. But on the other side, the local population was really strong. That was so celebratory. There's music going on. There's women drummers. There's Hare Krishna fellow going Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. It is like a what do you call that? What they have in London. Where you got floats and things.
Yeah. It's like the parades.
The parades, yes, with floats. We didn't have floats, but we were floating on air. It really was very, 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 very good.
You have to explain to me, because you filmed, not that you're a vain man, but you filmed yourself.
A lot. You know how I did that? I had the camera pointing to one way, and you know the gorilla tripod thing?
Yeah.
And I clamped my iPhone the other way.
Oh, I see.
So then I can choose.
So you got both. However, at one time you're wearing... Now, you're not a Muslim.
No.
You're a Hindu, and you're probably a bit of a wobbly Hindu.
A bit of everything.
A bit of a wobbly Hindu.
Wobbly everything. Yeah. Why be in one religion when there's so many to...
But you keep wearing a different hat.
Yes. Well, if you wear the white one, that's a typical Muslim, like a kapel type of thing.
Right, yeah.
And the patka is what the orange one is.
The Sikhs.
I actually didn't have a Hindu one, to be truthful.
You did one for your own faith.
Who cares? That's what I was born in. Doesn't mean I have to stay in my mother's womb. You know.
I just love the fact that we have various people in various parts of the world at this very moment saying that if a woman slaps herself on her hip, she will be killed because they're going to put a fatwa on her for slapping.
Well, funny, in Indonesia, if a woman farts, lets out air from the rear end, and there's a sound, there's a fatwa in Indonesia. Type the words FATW, fatwa, woman, fart, FART, fart.
Fatwa.
If you eat too many petit pois, you'll get a fatwa.
But how can you help that?
People become so microscopically narrow-minded. They don't know the elbow from the backside.
No, but you see, what I love is the fact that you're like 3 or 4 faiths in one afternoon.
Yeah.
And
I've just come from the Pakistani Cultural Society playing the flute. Now, the flute doesn't have a religion.
Sure.
Football doesn't have a religion. There was one fellow who was lovely from Newcastle United shirt he was wearing. And at the speech he said, when someone made this fantastic goal, I don't remember which goal, no one asked him, what religion are you?
Sure.
And there was a black guy who said, my mother is a nurse from West Indies. And when someone's dying and she puts a drip, nobody says, what religion are you?
Yeah, for sure.
So, that is the beauty of Newcastle.
But you see, I think, and I know there's people not just from Newcastle that turned up.
No, Birmingham.
They came in
busloads from Birmingham, Sheffield.
For the football.
No, not just for the football. They came for this specifically. Yeah.
I know a lot of them came down from Scotland as well. There was some Scots there. And the thing that I didn't understand about the whole thing was, why in their right mind would Pegida want to come? What have they achieved here other than bringing everybody together?
Apart from their own self-publicity, from being nothing, they're noticed now. But more than that, they combined us. So thank you, Pegida.
Yeah.
Thank you. Please come again.
We had a lovely afternoon.
No, it was we didn't have an anti-Pegida march. We had a celebratory. Newcastle unites. And I take my hat off, whichever one I'm wearing at the moment, to Deepu Ahad. He's a Muslim.
Yeah.
He's a Bengali origin guy. And I've been to Palestine with him, so I know him inside out.
Right.
He was so calm and so good. On Facebook, I said, you should be our MP.
Right.
Honestly. Right. He said, let's celebrate our connections instead of worrying about some little people who are coming.
Right.
And I think the police were phenomenal. The people are phenomenal. I'm so glad they came.
And it's all age ranges, little kids, right? You had Polish people there. You had literally
You had
everyone.
a Jewish guy on the stage.
Right.
And he's standing for South Gosforth, I think Owen Clark or something his name is.
Right.
And he says, it says historically that we hate the Muslims hate us. No, when I get in a taxi, the Muslim taxi taxi driver doesn't say, are you Jewish? Nobody asks these daft questions,
No. They say, I could have got a bigger tip off for that. But no, of course we don't.
And when you play football, I think when you eat food, when you have sports, when you do music and things you do in the night, you don't look at the religion. It's just natural.
Tonight, while you were playing the flute,
yes,
how many of those people at the Pakistani Association were wishing they weren't Pakistani?
I don't know that they were not wishing they were Pakistani because by actions you prove that there is no difference.
What I'm saying is when they're sitting there thinking, we've got him playing his flute again.
No. It's in my bag. Shall I pull it out? No, but then why do the Pakistanis like me? Because on Wednesday, I got a phone call from Middlesbrough by a Muslim gentleman who's a lawyer. He's a bit higher class. So he phoned me. I was on his show. Wednesday afternoon, we talked about this. Wednesday night, there was a whole show to celebrate it. So there were 2 Bengali gentlemen, and there were 4 Pakistani gentlemen, and there was just one of me.
Yeah.
And they gave us flowers, they gave us sweets.
But you see, everybody who's Pakistani thinks you're Pakistani. Everybody thinks thinks it's you.
Yeah, I'm all of them.
You're all of them.
I'm even a Brun Jodi, and especially if you live abroad, what's this big deal? I mean, if I were in India, in a very Hindu atmosphere, I would have disliked Muslims. If I lived in Pakistan.
Why? Why would...
It's us and them. I had the head of Philosophical Society, a Jewish guy in the studio yesterday, and I asked him, what is tribalism? He said when a baby is born, he's a clinical child psychologist, Dr. Joel Yeoli.
Right.
And he said something really amazing. First I said, what is tribalism? He said, when a child is born, it has a sense of self. I am me. Then it's told you're Alan Robson, therefore Christian, or Anand, therefore you're a Hindu, or Amin, therefore you're a Muslim. It's branded.
Yeah.
And then the sense of self is lost. It becomes part of the crowd. Sheeple, as we call it. And he says to regain your sense of self is very difficult. Then I asked him what happened to the Jews. And he's the first Jew in my life who said, we were partly responsible. We lived in ghettos, we oppressed, we took money, and we didn't integrate. And that's a message to all of us, whether you are a red-haired guy.
Yeah, but hang on. Here's a
Jewish guy himself.
A Jewish professional.
Yes.
Saying that
we also
they were part of the problem at the very beginning.
Yes.
And yet, to this day, you've got the non-Orthodox Jews living on the north of the river. Usually Heaton's got a sizable population. Yes. But we still have the Orthodox Jews who... They're still not doing that. They're hiring people from the north and they're working alongside them, but their private lives, their religious lives they close a veil, don't they?
Well, good luck to anyone who has a private life at home, but then you will not adjust to people in the public domain. The reason, I'm wearing Western clothes, right? On that day I wore that but if all the time I dress like an Indian Hindu, I cannot fit in, If all the time my clothes are my signboard, aren't they? If constantly I wear Indian clothes, constantly, or morning, noon, night, in the swim baths, in the operating theatre, I'm saying I'm making a statement. I will not integrate. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Because I think we have a freedom to dress as we like, but we're also making a statement constantly.
I think if you were in the operating theatre in traditional Indian clothes and you were operating on something
I could leave my topi inside.
From EDL wakes up and sees what's going on there.
He'll faint. He won't need anesthetic. But I've actually invited the EDL to come to the studio. Come and talk. Tell us what's wrong with me. Because I came in 1978 with £150,000 worth of medical degree.
Right.
That's how much it costs today to make a doctor.
Yeah.
I brought all that, and I'm quite boastful, as you know. I had the best practice in Gosforth.
Right.
We did morning surgeries, we did late evening surgeries, we did Saturday morning surgeries. I lived on top of my surgery premises. Yeah. That's how confident I was.
You put the time in too.
And I enjoyed work. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I put in acupuncture in the practice. You were talking about acupuncture. Yeah. I've had acupuncture. I've had homeopathy. I tested out, like Jenna's son. I tested all on myself. It all works if you believe in it. If you don't believe in it, aspirin doesn't work.
Right, sure.
In World War II, when people lost their legs, if there was a Y connector actually putting in morphine or saline into your body, the person who's an amputee, as long as the person thinks it's morphine, There's no difference.
Right.
Because the body starts making endorphins.
The body's a wonderful thing. I've always said that if ever I'm feeling like I've got a headache or I'm not very well, adrenaline is the best thing to shift it. And if you have a show at the night time and you're feeling poorly, 10 minutes into the show, everything's back.
You've forgotten because you're in another space. Yeah. It's all in the mind, really.
It is, absolutely.
It's all in the mind.
I just think, personally, you're one of the most fun but scariest people that I've ever met.
Why scary?
Because you never quite know which direction you're going to go. But I must say, we asked you to go down. We've just got a tiny little clip. Okay. Just going to play a little bit of this.
Okay.
Back to the Hare Krishna. The Hare Krishna are an offshoot of the Hindu Dharma in India. And they believe in total love and devotion.
It's a lovely flavour. It sounds more like a party than anything else.
It was a party. I mean, it was in the sense that the Hare Krishna people added so much glamour to it. I mean, they're nice, safe people who don't have sex, don't do this, don't do that.
And they're ginger.
But they're supporting Muslims, which how it should be, you know.
Because this was the thing that I liked about the whole thing. We did have Jewish people there. You had Hindus, you had Muslims, you had Sikhs. And yet you had... probably, I'm guessing, between 80 and 90% of pink freckly people there.
Pink freckles.
That was the thing that I loved the best about it, because
I mean, look at them.
They're marching there behind 1,000 flags, really.
And peacefully. And there were children in the march. You know, when I was going to park my car in Eldon Gardens, I parked my car at 9:30 and I'm walking. I could see people, you know, like in someone's going to Jesus for a blessing.
Right.
People who are limping, people in a wheelchair. I really got tears flowing. I couldn't, because they're carrying banners. I thought, look at the faith in these people. And they were all white people, freckly pink people. And I thought, wow. And at that moment, I realized how lucky I am to live in Newcastle. Not just in England with the freedom of speech, but with Geordies, you know. I mean...
can I just draw in? There were loads of Mackhams and Smoggies and Northumbrians.
Right.
It's people from the north.
Northeast, yes.
We seem to have a brotherhood, and we are all... I mean, we've got people in Middlesbrough that hate the thought that anybody would ever describe them as a Geordie. And yet, if they went abroad and they were by a pool and somebody threatened them, and there was a Geordie or a Mackham there, they'd be the first ones to step in.
Yes.
Because, yes, we're rival tribes, but we're all together. We know the score.
It's just a joke, actually.
We know the score, absolutely.
I mean, do we really dislike Sunderland people? No, we don't.
Nobody does.
No. It's just a makeshift kind of arrangement to look a bit racist. That's the only racism. Just look at the number of people. Just look at that.
I know. I'm looking on the screen of what Dr. Anand had filmed at the time, and you guys did the Northeast proud out there. You really did. And we asked Dr. Anand to go along, and we were hoping he was going to be rugby tackled by somebody. Nobody did it.
Nobody, a microphone on my chest, and a lot of people know me. And they start talking in Hindi, and I'm saying, I've got a mic on me.
Talk to my bosom.
Yes. Well, I wish it was a woman saying that to me, but never mind. So it really was a wonderful day and a total show of strength. You know, I went on all the Palestine marches, but they were a bit more serious. They were a bit more anti-Israeli or anti-Semitic or anti-Emetic or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But this one, there was just harmony, total harmony. I even like George Galloway's speech, you know.
Yeah.
I read like.
No, I read it, and there's not much you can criticise.
No. And there was a Jewish guy. There was the Hindu temple priest who came all the way from Catterick.
Right.
He looks after all the Hindus and the Buddhists and the Sikhs in the army. And then there was a chap from Walker. He was a priest. He was what is called Franciscan. Mm-hmm. And now I know why they're called the cloth people. They take up so much cloth, like, you know. It was huge amount wrapped around, you know. And it takes me back to my Catholic school, you know. I have a certain reverence. I could smell of a cigar because all the priests in Patna would smoke.
Right.
So I have that mental association. They were nice people, you know. And I said, "You're not a Muslim. Why are you here?" You know, I asked questions in that awkward, right in your face way. Yeah. And they said, "Well, you got Muslim friends, and there's no reason why Muslims should be targeted. It's the Muslims now. It could be Jews next. It could be gays next. It could be Asians. Anyone. We can't target people. If you dislike something, discuss."
But you see, the thing that I hate about this kind of stuff is you just need a couple of mad individuals.
Yes.
And there was yesterday, I think, a little Yemeni boy living in the West. Some kids built a cage and put him in there and says, "You're Yemeni, you're obviously a terrorist, we're going to burn you like the pilot was burned." And God. He's just like a 7, 8, 9-year-old freaked out little kid.
Yeah, just
and the idiots will not aim for big grown-up people that can defend themselves. They always take on...
But it's like child abuse.
Coward. It's just a bunch of cowards. So the Pegida guys, I didn't hear them. I barely saw them. You completely overwhelmed them. You didn't expect that. Didn't expect it to be so easy.
We knew we'd be not overwhelmed by them, but we didn't know it was just a walkover. But forget the walkover, forget the Pegida. They combined us. When in 1963, India and China had a war, all the Hindus and Muslims got really into each other, really full of love, throwing their jewelry on the floor, saying, and then as soon as the war was over, they got back to their own positions. A bit like the Kit Kat advert.
Yeah.
Have a break, have a Kit Kat. So there's the gentleman, he's a priest. He's talking about why he's come to defend.
Right.
So your microphone was very useful. I said,
we've still got stuff we're going to use from it.
Yeah. I mean, it was good. I asked the Muslims, how do you like it here? The ones that I could talk and would fluent in the Geordie.
Right.
And they said, we love it here.
Yeah.
I've had no problem. Things were bad in the beginning. Things are lovely now. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, at the beginning...
It's been a hard slog, I think, right from the very beginning. There's always been a hardcore, straightforward people that don't care. Life's life, we get on with it. We're born, we die, we try and do our best in the middle bit.
Yeah, yes.
And that's all it's about. And I think it's took us seeing what racism can do to pull us together. But I was very, very proud of the way that you and everybody else dealt with that.
We just gelled, we just forgot I was brown or Hindu or doctor. The worst part is forgetting the doctor bit. That's another...
You never forget the doctor bit.
Well, I only write one name. My Facebook was stopped. So I wrote to them saying, why? They said, because you're called Doc Anand, but can you prove you are that? So I sent them my passport. My passport says XXX Anand.
Right.
Because I only write one name. So the Queen has christened me with a triple X. Hardcore Doc, They said, this is not good enough. So I sent them all my bank statements. They said, it's okay. But don't ever change your name. You remain Doc Anand. So I'm christened Doc Anand for Facebook.
There you go.
So, you learn every day.
You do, absolutely. So what's next for you then?
Well, again, I believe there's another march coming up. Like Hitler kind of march. So I'll buy those mustaches and give everyone one.
I don't know what they're going to make if they just turn around the corner and they see half of the northeast with a small tash.
Charlie Chaplin tash. Yeah. No, it's great fun. I mean, I really felt good to be not just in England, in the northeast. I now know why northeast is so special. Wasn't there some survey where the northeast was
warmest,
the warmest place? Where is? Have you got that survey?
I haven't, but it was about 2 or 3 years ago. It was the weird thing was the northeast came first, Scotland came second, Cumbria came third. So it's everything that was
the Golden Triangle.
At the top end there. It was all the old Celts. You see, if we're going to chuck a little bit of tribalism in there,
it's the
old kind of Celtic places but maybe the reason for that is that the Celtic places are the places that have been taken over by
in the past
20 or 30 people, different countries.
Yes.
Rome, the Vikings.
Yes. So they've felt it from the other side.
Yeah, and I think they understand what it's like to be just a small part of.
In December 82, I had passed my MRCGP exam in London. I knew that.
Yeah.
So I got in the train, there was just one seat. And I walked to it and I said, is this seat taken? He said, nah, it's our seat. I said, are you from Wallsend? By God, I said. He said, where are you from? I said, 19 Reedsdale Park next to the Wills factory. And he slated the Cockneys. He slated the Brummies. A brown Indian guy, a doctor dressed in a 3-piece suit, was so close to his heart that he just clicked,
Well, because that's what we're like. I've known people come on this programme and slate Sunderland fans or vice versa, Newcastle fans, having a pop at them saying, they're scum, they're this, they're that, they're all that kind of thing. And yet they'd fight side by side against anybody from the south.
Yes. But there is something special about Newcastle. It's a bit of an isolated island, isn't it? It's an island within an island.
Well, I just think it's a kind of a centrepiece.
Yes.
And I know Teesside are very, very, very proud of their place, so they should be. As Sunderland as well. Newcastle, whether you like it or not, it's the place where most people come, most bands come, most events happen. So whether you like it or not, sometimes you've got to come. And it's just that whole identity of the city being
isolated,
1,000 people, but it's 1,000 different pieces all coming together as one.
Yes.
And that's what's so nice about the North. I love the North for that reason. But Dr. Anand,
thank you very much.
It's been a joy, and thank you very much,
for
going out there. I would have loved to have been with you. You never even started your bass shandy.
I'll have it outside Lake. Thank you.
It'll be 3 sheets to the wind.
Many policemen. Thank you, Veera Baird. She really provided the city with total safety. Right. You know, when the crowd breaks up, that's when danger is.
Yeah.
You know, you could see I'm wearing red, I'm brown skinned, I've got a white cap, just to say, in your face, here I am. But I never felt any threat. With the Palestine marches, I did. Right. Because, you know, you go into an alley, some little plonker will give you a smack.
Yeah.
But this was done. But the number of people that was there was 3,500.
Amazing.
3,500, of which only 5% were Muslims.
Right.
So, on the one hand, I feel sad that not enough of them had the courage or the nous to come. But on the other side, the local population was phoned the other way.
Oh, I see.
So then I can choose.
So you got both. However, at one time you're wearing... Now, you're not a Muslim.
No.
You're a Hindu, and you're probably a bit of a wobbly Hindu.
A bit of everything.
A bit of a wobbly Hindu.
Wobbly everything. Yeah. Why be in one religion when there's so many to...
But you keep wearing a different hat.
Yes. Well, if you wear the white one, that's a typical Muslim, like a kapel type of thing.
Right, yeah.
And the patka is what the orange one is.
The Sikhs.
I actually didn't have a Hindu one, to be truthful.
She's that one for your own faith.
Who cares? That's what I was born in. Doesn't mean I have to stay in my mother's womb. You know.
I just love the fact that we have various people
Yeah.
in various parts of the world at this very moment saying that if a woman slaps herself on her hip, she will be killed because they're going to put a fatwa on her for slapping.
Well, funny, in Indonesia, if a woman farts, lets out air from the rear end, and there's a sound, there's a fatwa in Indonesia. Type the words FATW, fatwa, woman, fart, FART, fart.
Fatwa.
Fatwa. If you eat too many petit pois, you'll get a fatwa.
But how can you help that?
People, really strong. That was so celebratory. There's music going on. There's women drummers. There's Hare Krishna fellow going Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. It is like a what do you call that? What they have in London. Where you got floats and things.
Yeah. It's like the parades.
The parades, yes, with floats. We didn't have floats, but we were floating on air. It really was very, 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 very good.
You have to explain to me, because you filmed, not that you're a vain man, but you filmed yourself.
A lot. You know how I did that? I had the camera pointing to one way, and you know the gorilla tripod thing?
Yeah.
And I clamped my...
A lovely little heart as well. Well, talking about a region with a heart... next to Dr. Anand, and he's back in again. Heaven help us.
Like a bad penny.
Just what we need. No, but we're talking about the Pegida March.
Yes.
It's the funniest thing. The week before, we're all going, shouldn't have been allowed. We don't want these people here.
Yes.
And then they came.
They conked out.
They conked out, absolutely. They got totally smashed by the weight of public opinion.
Yes. I mean, there was about 250 to 300 of them. There were as